Hey guys, I'm back yet again with another deck profile. This time I'm going to show off my Marincess deck. Now this is a deck that I've been playing the most with at my locals, and it's the one I've been having the most fun with. I'll be honest here and I'll say it's probably not as strong as the Mech deck that I had on this channel a couple weeks ago, but I just have a ton of fun with it and it's still really competitive and it makes for a lot of interesting games. Because whereas the Mech deck is all about, going for the one-turn kill with the Axis code, this deck is more about playing the long game and exhausting your opponent out of their resources while you're sitting there with a handful of gas ready to go every single turn. So if you guys like this kind of playstyle, give this deck a shot. And without further ado, I'll get started with the deck profile. So to start off with, we're playing 3 Marincess Blue Tank. As far as one card combos go, she is your best starter. So Blue Tang, all the Marincess main deck monsters can end on Link 4, and that is the main goal of this deck, is to make a big boss monster that your opponent has trouble getting over. And you're sitting there with a lot of interruptions in the form of hand traps. So Blue Tang has the most combo lines in terms of interruptions that you can end on by herself. And just like with my last deck profile, I'll show you guys the combos that you can do with just Blue Tang at the end of this video. So Blue Tang is your definitely the one that you want to see the most often in your starting hand every single game. Next we have Marincess Seahorse. So Marincess Seahorse is your second best starter. She has one more line than Spring Girl. This is mainly because with Marincess Seahorse you can actually fetch Battle Ocean with her, whereas with Spring Girl you can only fetch Dive if you want to extend your combo. This is your only Marincess monster. So what she does is she special summons to a Link Arrow that a Marincess Link monster points to. So she's an extender, but she can also be a starter, which is really powerful. She also has an effect in the graveyard where she can banish herself, not the turn that she's sent to the graveyard, but a following turn, to special summon a Marincess monster to a Link Arrow. It doesn't come up very often at all, to be honest, but it's something that's nice to have. You're mainly using her to extend in your first turn. And next we have Marincess Spring Girl. This is the new card from the legendary Duelist, Duelist from the Deep. She is fantastic. So unlike Seahorse, Spring Girl can actually just special summon herself to any zone. It doesn't have to be one that a Marincess Link monster points to. She does have a cost where you have to banish a Marincess monster from the graveyard, which can stump you in some situations. But yeah, as far as, let's say your opponent interrupted your plays and you need some way to extend, she's your best bet, because you can just have an empty board and you can special summon her and just continue your play. So Spring Girl is very powerful. She also has an effect where if you link summon with her, she can mill cards from your deck to burn your opponent for damage, which can come up with the current Yu-Gi-Oh! Time rules. It's not great, but just having an in-engine ability to burn your opponent and try to win on time is something that this deck does do well. And you can also use her effect to chain block your Sea Angel, which I can show you guys at the end of this video as well. So yeah, Spring Girl is very good, and it's something that this deck really makes this deck a lot better than it was before. And I am running 2 Marincess Pascalis. Pascalis is actually your best normal summon if you see any other main deck Marincess monster, because she can special summon another Marincess monster from your hand to the field. So you're kind of getting 2 bodies at once in that situation. But as far as one card combo goes, she is probably your worst one because she can't really extend by herself. She needs another monster. But even with just Pascalis, you can end on a Link 4, and I'll show you guys how to do that later. And I'm only running 2 because the thing about Pascalis is she can't special summon herself out from the hand. So say if you have 2 Pascalis, you can't normal summon Pascalis and special summon the other one, which is kind of a boner. But yeah, so that's kind of why I wanted to only play 2, because this is a card that you do want to see for sure in your opening hand, but you don't want to see multiple. So yeah. Oh, and she also has a graveyard effect. On the following turn, you can banish her to recycle a Marincess Spell Trap, which is a very powerful effect. And it's one of the main reasons why Marincess is able to play the grind game so well. So yeah, running 2 Pascalis, and I am running the 1 Sleepy Maiden. So Sleepy Maiden is another extender. Her downside is that she's a level 5. You can't normal summon her. You can't use her to make the Link 1s because the Link 1s require level 4s or level 4 or lower. So that is a bit of a downside, but I choose to run her just for another extender to play through interruptions. And she allows Blue Tank to go into a Aqua Argonaut with an equip plus wave with just Blue Tank. So playing her enables that line. So yeah, that's why I'm playing the 1 Sleepy Maiden. And next we're running 3 Sign and Minings. So this is just a way to get access to your starters or find your extenders if your opponent interrupts your plays, or if you just want to make your combos a lot better and end on more interruptions. Yeah, Sign and Mining kind of just finds exactly what you need. The way I play this card is I use it to hold it and wait to see if my opponent has some kind of hand trap. I can use Sign and Mining to find Spring Girl, and Spring Girl can help me extend my plays because she is definitely your best extender if you if you're not able to play through, continue your combo, with any other card. So Sign and Mining, I usually use it to find Spring Girl, but theoretically you could find Blue Tang as well if you want to go for the strongest combos that you can go for. Yeah. So next we have the Marincess Spell and Traps. So I'm running 1 Battle Ocean, 1 Wave, and 2 Dives. Running 2 Dives because this is a card you definitely want to see in your opening hand if you have other Marincess monsters. This is just another extender, but I choose to not run 3 because this is a once per turn effect. And also you do end up with those awkward hands where you just have Dive and stuff like hand traps or other cards that call by the grave, things like that. So I do choose to run only 2 of this, although this can become a starter if you also have Battle Ocean in your opening hand, because you can go Battle Ocean and then use Marincess Dive to use the second effect to special summon from deck. So you can do that if you have Battle Ocean on the field. Otherwise, it's just kind of like a Monster Reborn. But those scenarios don't happen too often, so I think running the 2 dice is just fine. Yeah. And we are running 1 Battle Ocean, 1 Wave. These are both searchable. There's no reason to play more than 1 in my opinion. Mainly because Wave, even though it's kind of like a hand trap, if you're going second, you can't really use it as a hand trap because you do need that Link 3 or higher monster on the field first. So it's kind of just a dead card, honestly, if you have it in your hand going second. So I'm only running the 1 Wave and 1 Battle Ocean. This is not a card that you want to see multiples of. It's not really a starter. It kind of just helps you facilitate your combos. So yeah, I think running the 1 Battle Ocean is fine. So yeah, those are the Marincess Spell and Traps. And next we're going to go with the hand trap. So we're running 3 Ash. Again, Ash is just fantastic. It beats a lot of rogue decks. Not too great against tier limits, but it can be really good against Sprite, because if you're playing against Sprite, you want to pair this with another hand trap to kind of stop their turn. So Ash is really good. Next we're running 2 Nibiru. Nibiru I think is really good in this format right now. I'm thinking about running 3. I'm only running 2 at the moment, because I think with the October ban list, tier elements is definitely going to be the best deck, and one way to really stop them is to Nibiru them in a good place, and so that you can it's really the only hand trap that has a high enough impact against them, to be honest, because I've had some games where I just use 3 hand traps against tier elements and they just go foolish burial and they can still play. So Nibiru, you really want high impact hand traps like this one to play against that deck. So 2 Nibiru, I might run 3, but I'm only running the 2 right now. Next we have 3 Crow and 2 Ghost Bell against hand traps. That's really good against tier elements. These are also really good against Math Mech. With the banning of Ronin Totem, DD Crow may not be as good, because sprites may not go for the toad lines anymore. So this is a ratio I might play around with. I might cut Crow for the 3rd hero. So yeah, but this is what I'm running right now. Honestly, the balance hasn't kicked in yet. It's going to start in October, so for the time being, I'm going to be running these 5 hand traps. And to be honest, I think we will definitely see more tier elements going forward, so running more hand traps to beat tier elements I think is a good idea. Next we have 2 Veilers and 3 Imperms. So yeah, just good generic hand traps, can beat most decks. Yeah, not much to say here. They're just really good. Next we have 2 Pot of Desires. Again, this is a deck that doesn't have a lot of garnets, and you are running the 1 Wave and 1 Battle Ocean, but you can search them out during your main combo and then Desires after. And to be honest, if you lose one of the 2, either Wave or Battle Ocean, you can still play through it. There are other lines that you can go for. If you do banish both of them, it's a bit tough, but those situations don't happen too often. So I think running Desires is really good. Pottery is fantastic. You can just use it at the end of your combo and find more hand traps, which serves as disruptions on your opponent's turn. 2 Triple Tactics Talent. I really like this card because you going second, I find that the tier 1 player, they'll activate some kind of monster effect like Dragostapelia or Havness, and then you can just use tactics and take one of their monsters. I had a situation where my opponent had Millennium Ice Restrict, and Amir J, he used the Millennium Ice Restrict effect to negate, and I just triple attacked this as Amir J, so that was really good. And yeah, just going first, you can, if your opponent hand traps you, you can triple tactics, Talon their hand. If they have an Nibiru, you can take shuffle that away. So it's just really good, I think, in Marincess. And even the draw effect is really good. If they hand trap you, you draw 2 cards, 5 more extenders, continue your play like nothing happened. So yeah. Next we have 1 Call by the Grave for stopping hand traps, and if you're going first, you can set this and then banish a tier limit in the graveyard. So, and just honestly, against most deck, you can probably use this as a disruption if you're going first. A lot of decks rely on their graveyard these days, so having Call by the Grave is just really strong. Next we have the Cosmic Cyclone. This is my 40th card. So the thing about Marincess is that they don't have an in-engine way of dealing with Mystic Mine, so I kind of have to run the Cyclone. And I am running Cyclone instead of Harvey Feather Duster because if you're going first, you can just set this card and use it on your opponent's turn. That's mainly why. And Cosmic instead of Twin Twister because of Runic. Runic, they can summon Huggins, and Huggins can protect their cards from being destroyed, which is really annoying, and Cosmic vanishes, so it gets around that problem. So that's the main deck. I'm running 40 cards, and let's get on with the extra deck. So for the extra deck, I am running 2 Marincess Blue Slug. Blue Slug, what this does is it adds a Marincess monster from your graveyard back to your hand. So generally the combo is you summon Blue Tang sends Marincess monster to the graveyard, and you would use Blue Slug to add it back to your hand. In long grind games, you can actually use this to shuffle back your Marincess extra deck monster so you can link summon them again, which is a play that I tend to go for. So I think having 2 is correct, just allows you to play the grind game, because going to a link 1 is usually how you would extend your plays. I've had one game where I used up all my link 1s and I wasn't able to make any of my extra deck, and that was awful. So managing your extra deck is actually really important in this deck. So yeah, 2 Blue Slug, and I am running 2 Sea Angels. Against a good player, Sea Angel, they'll use a hand trap on the Sea Angel, so I think playing the grind game, you do need the second one typically, just to get out your Battle Ocean from your deck. If they interrupt your first Sea Angel on your next turn, you can use the other Sea Angel to find your Battle Ocean. So yeah, 2 Sea Angels, 2 Coral Anemone. This one reborns a monster from your graveyard to the Link Arrow, and also when Coral Anemone is sent to the graveyard, you can recycle back a Marincess card from your graveyard to your hand. So she's really good. Definitely, I would say she's kind of the real bridge for this deck to, you want to make her as much as possible and kind of keep using her effect to get back resources and, link climb and all that. So she's definitely a core part of the Marincess deck. Next we have 2 non-Marincess Link 2s, Splash Mage and Area. So Splash Mage is interesting because with Coral Anemone, she actually reborns any water monster. So you can actually reborn Splash Mage, and then because Coral Anemone and Splash Mage are both Link 2s, you can make a Link 4 with the 2 of them. So, one combo is you can make Splash Mage first before Coral Anemone, and then Splash Mage can reborn a monster and then make Coral Anemone, and then Anemone can bring back Splash Mage. So yeah, that is a combo that sometimes you will need to go for if you don't have any if you don't have enough extenders, I should say. And I'm running the 1 area because I am running the Triple Tactics talent. So if I use the Change of Heart effect of Triple Tactics talent, I don't want my opponent to get back their monster at the end of the turn. So being able to link off their monster and make area is really important. And there are some water monsters that you can get back with area, like Rhino Heart or Toad. So yeah, her effect to reborn from your opponent's grave does come up from time to time. So those are the Link 2s. And next we have the Link 3s, Marble Rock and Coral Triangle. Coral Triangle is fantastic. She searches Marincess Wave, and Wave is how you can interrupt your opponent and make your monsters unaffected. And sometimes I will actually make Coral Triangle even if I already have Wave, because her second effect is that she can special summon monsters from your graveyard with link ratings equal to 3. So and you can only do it if you control no monsters. So this is something that you would do on the next turn. and it's just a really powerful effect that you can start off with. And let's say your opponent broke your board, you will use her effect to reborn your monsters, and then your opponent will have to deal with those monsters first before you even play with any monsters from your hand. So that's a really powerful effect, and a lot of people forget about it as well. Marble Rock, another good Link 3. Her effect is to add back any Marincess card from your graveyard to your hand. She's good in the follow-up. You definitely need her to kind of just play out the grind game. So yeah, one Coral Triangle, one Marble Rock. And next we have the Link 4s. So we have Aqua Argonaut and Bubble Reef. Bubble Reef lets you banish a water monster to draw a card on the standby phase. And yeah, so she's kind of like a mini Heat Soul in a way, where you can potentially draw into hand traps, and she just gets really big because anytime a card is banished, she gains 600 attack. So if you just want some really beefy creature that your opponent's gonna have trouble running over, then you know she would be something you would go for. And next we have Aqua Argonaut. So Aqua Argonaut, she's a spell and trap negate by special summoning a Link monster that she's equipped with to the field. So Aqua Argonaut's usually the monster that you do want to make when you're setting up your board turn 1, because she does give you that spell and trap negate. But sometimes if your opponent hand traps you, you can't get to your Battle Ocean, then you would make Bubble Reef, because Aqua Argonaut is really relying on being able to get to Battle Ocean. Battle Ocean is how you can equip your Link 4s with Link materials. And Bubble Reef is less reliant on having equips, because her effect is just, you know, drawing cards to find more hand traps. So yeah, you definitely need one of each, depending on the situation that you're in. And next we have the XYZs. So we have Bahamut Shark and Totally Awesome. This is a play that you can make if you have enough extenders. If you have 2 level 4s, you can make Bahamut Shark into Toad. Toad just allows you to have another form of really powerful interruption. The only thing I would be careful of is that Toad, if you do make Toad plus the Link 4, you are susceptible to Super Poly. But that's something that, you know, depending on your hand, you might just play into anyway. If you have the option, definitely make the Toad, you know. And if they have Super Poly, it is what it is. So yeah, both are really good. And lastly, we have Stealth Kraken. So we are running Nibiru, and the best way to get rid of the Nibiru token is to make Stealth Kraken and pop the Nibiru token, and then just swing for game. And yeah, it's just another really powerful removal. This deck does lack hard removal, so having a card like Stealth Kraken is really important. And those are the extra deck monsters. And I'll get to the side deck. So we're running more hand traps in the side deck. We're running Nibiru and 2 Ghost Ogres. Ghost Ogre is really good against Fluandery, Sprite, and having the third Nibiru in the side deck, I'll bring this in against, you know, any kind of combo decks and tier elements. Yeah, I used to run Ghost Ogre in the main, but I figure that tier elements are, you know, more popular these days, so I put them to the side for now. And so those are more hand traps. Next we have more back row hate with Feather Duster to Cosmic. I did have Twin Twister before, but again, with Runic being more popular now, I want the Cosmic to be able to banish their field spell. So yeah, and you know, the banish effect against other decks can come up as well, like for example Eldritch, so I think Cosmic is pretty good. And Feather Duster is just a really strong silver bullet against back row decks, so gotta run it. Next we have Evenly Matched. You know, this is a card that I would bring in against a lot of matchups if I'm going second. Just a really powerful board breaker. And this is a deck that doesn't really rely on the battle phase too much, and it has trouble getting over, you know, a lot of creatures, which Evenly Matched definitely helps out with. because Marincess is a deck where you just make one big boss monster, not like, many, mid-range kind of creatures. So just having evenly matched, clear out all their little guys, and just, make your one monster, bounce it back to the hand, or pop it with Kraken to kind of clear the board. So yeah, 3 evenly matched. Next we have 2 Signet Crosswipe. This is mainly for, again, back row decks. That's what this deck really has trouble dealing with. And Crosswipe is just another way to out Mystic Mine. Unfortunately, in this latest ban list, they didn't hit mine, so we still had to play cards like these to kind of deal with it if our opponent is playing mine. So 2 Signet Crosswipe. And probably the best card in the deck, if I'm gonna be honest, is 3 Goes Unmatched. This is just a really powerful deck card against a lot of decks. It makes Sprite really hard to play their turn. It's also really good against full unders if they haven't set up their board yet. And honestly, against a lot of decks, like even Sword Soul Goes Unmatched, I would bring it in. Math Mech Goes Unmatched is also really good against. And depending on the tier elements version, like let's say if they summon and Sprite Elf, I can still flip Goes Unmatched on that, and it would cut them off of a lot of their play. So yeah, Goes Unmatched is really good. And finally, the last side deck card is 1 Abyss Dweller. So I am playing 1 extra deck monster in my side deck. Abyss Dweller is really good against tier elements. It pretty much makes them unable to play their turn. And the thing is, I am running this in the side instead of the main because the main deck is pretty tight. And the way I think about it is Abyss Dweller is good against tier elements, but if you're going second against tier elements, this doesn't do a whole lot. So it's definitely a card that I will bring in if I'm going first against tier elements. And even if I am playing against tiers, if I don't know my opponent and I don't know that he's playing that deck, right? Like I may not even make it on my first turn. So this is definitely a card that I would bring in if I know already that my opponent's playing tiers and I'm going first. So yeah, have that in the side. And yeah, that is the deck profile. So I'll show you guys some combos with Marincess now. Right, stay tuned. Okay, and we're back with the combo video. So the first combo I want to show off is the 1 card Blue Tang combo. And once again, you guys can kind of just ignore the zones here. I'm just gonna place the cards wherever just because I don't have that much room. So first of all, we're going to normal summon Blue Tang, and then we'll use Blue Tang's effect to send a Marincess monster from our deck to our graveyard. So the card that we're going to send is Marincess Sleepy Maiden. And next we're going to link up Blue Tang for a copy of Marincess Blue Slug. And here, Blue Tang's effect is that when she's linked up, you can reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and add a Marincess card that you reveal to your hand. So here, you could use Blue Tang's effect here, or you could use it later to chain block. We're just going to do it here. The advantage of doing it right now is that you can see which card you're going to get earlier. So that allows you to, maybe adjust the play that you're going to go for. Whereas if you do it later, you're kind of already committed to some plays. So yeah, it's really up to you. I don't think there's a correct play either way to go about it. It's just how much you fear Ash if they try to hit your Sea Angel. So yeah, we're just going to do it here. So we're gonna go Chainlink 1 Blue Slug, Chainlink 2 Blue Tang. Blue Slug will be targeting Sleepy Maiden to add back to hand, and Blue Tang will reveal 3 cards that are not Marincess cards. So we're going to shuffle that back into the deck, and Blue Slug will add Sleepy Maiden back to your hand. Next, we're going to use Sleepy Maiden's effect to target Blue Slug and special summon her out. Next, we're going to link these 2 off for Marincess Coral Anemone, and we're going to use Coral Anemone's effect to bring back Marincess Blue Tang. And here we're going to link off Blue Tang for a copy of Sea Angel. So in this situation, this is where you could potentially use Blue Tang to chain block the Sea Angel. Sea Angel will search Marincess' spell. But since we already used Blue Tang's effect, we're just going to use Sea Angel here. So we're going to get Marincess' Dive. We're going to use Dive to special summon out Blue Tang. And next, we're going to link these two off for copy of Coral Triangle, and we'll use Coral Anemone's effect to add back Marincess' Sleepy Maiden back to our hand. And now we're going to use Coral Triangle's effect to discard Sleepy Maiden to add a copy of Marincess' Wave. And next we can use these two as link material for Marincess' Aqua Argonaut. And here we can use Marincess' Sleepy Maiden's second effect to banish herself to equip a link monster from our graveyard to our Aqua Argonaut. So we're going to equip Coral Anemone to Aqua Argonaut. And now here we have Aqua Argonaut with a spell and trap negate on our opponent's turn, and a Marincess Wave as a monster effect negation. And if you're going first and your only play was the Blue Tang, you're probably sitting there with 4 hand traps ready to go to as additional interruptions as well. And when Coral Anemone is sent to the graveyard on your opponent's turn, she can recycle back the Marincess Blue Tang back to your hand. So you'll have follow-up for the next turn. So yeah, that's the first combo. Okay, we're back with the second combo. So we're going to show the one card combo with just Spring Girl. So I mainly wanted to do this combo to show off how you can chain block with Spring Girl on the Sea Angel if you're scared of Ashwell. So we're going to go ahead and normal summon Spring Girl, and we're going to link it up for a copy of Sea Angel. And we're going to go chain link one Sea Angel, chain link to Spring Girl. So Spring Girl will mill the top card of her deck. We mill Cosmic Cyclone, so nothing happens. And Sea Angel is going to grab us Marincess Dive. Now we're going to activate the Marincess Dive, and we're going to revive back the Spring Girl. And now we're going to link these two off for a copy of Coral Anemone. And now we're going to use Coral Anemone's effect to reborn the Spring Girl. Next we're going to link off Spring Girl for Blue Slug. Blue Slug will add back the Spring Girl back to her hand. And here we're going to special summon out the Spring Girl by banishing the Sea Angel. I'll just say banish this here so you guys can see. Next we're going to link off the Spring Girl and Coral Anemone for a copy of Coral Triangle. And it's important that you use the Spring Girl as the material, because we're going to use Coral Anemone's effect to add the Spring Girl back to her hand. That way we can use Coral Triangle's effect to discard Spring Girl. And then we're going to search Marincess Wave. And here we're going to link off those two for Marincess Great Bubble Reef. So theoretically we only have the one interruption in Marincess Wave, but this is just the one card combo with just Spring Girl, and hopefully with the Bubble Reef draw you can draw into more hand traps. Okay, we're back again with the last combo. So this combo is for if you just have Pascalis in your hand. Ideally, if you want to make the most of her, you have another Marincess monster for her to special summon out. But if she's your only monster, this would be the combo that you would go for. So you're going to start off with normal summoning Pascalis, linking Pascalis off for Sea Angel. Now Sea Angel is going to search you Dive, and now you're going to use Dive to special summon back out Pascalis. And now you're going to use these two to make Splash Mage. Now this is where Splash Mage will come into handy, because you're going to use his effect to special summon out Pascalis, and you're going to link Pascalis off for Blue Slug. Now this step is completely optional. If you want to leave the copy of Blue Slug in your extra deck for later turns, that's completely fine. But you're going to use Blue Slug to add back Pascalis to your hand, and this is for the follow-up, so that you have another Marincess name in your hand. Now you're going to link these two off for a copy of Coral Anemone, and now you're going to use Coral Anemone's effect to reborn the splash page. Now these two are both linked 2s, so you're able to use these two to make Great Bubble Reef your link 4. And don't forget to use Coral Anemone's effect to add back a Marincess card, so we're going to add back Marincess Dive. So with just Pascalis, you were still able to end on a link 4 in Great Bubble Reef, who can draw you into another card, hopefully a hand trap as a disruption, and you have Pascalis and Dive for the follow-up on your next turn, and hopefully 4 hand traps you can use to disrupt your opponents with. And yeah, those are all the combos. So leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions or suggestions, and also don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, see ya.